Good morning, students. Today, in this English period, I am going to start Unit 1 from English textbook, which includes story, 3 questions, and poem The Squirrel. So, let's begin with story, 3 questions. It is written by famous Russian novelist Leo Tolstoy. A king has 3 questions and he is seeking answers, or can say is trying to finding answers to them. So in this chapter we come to know about that what was that 3 question, and does the king get what he wants. The thought came to a certain king that he would never fall if he knew 3 things. These 3 things were: what is the right time to begin something, which people should he listen to, what is the most important thing for him to do. So many years ago, there lived a brave king. Once he thought that if he knew the answers of 3 questions, he would never fail in life. The 3 questions were: what is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? What is the most important thing for him to do? The king therefore sent messengers throughout his kingdom, promising a large sum of money to anyone who would answer these 3 questions. The king therefore sent his messengers throughout his kingdom to find what a person who could answer this question. Many wise men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently. So, from all over the kingdom, wise men came and gave different answers. In reply to the first question, some said, King must prepare a timetable and then follow it strictly. Only in this way, they said, could he do everything at its proper time. Others said that it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. The king should notice all that was going on, avoid foolish pleasure, and always do whatever seemed necessary at that time. Yet others said that the king needed a council of wise men who would help him act at the proper time. This was because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly without help from others the right time for every action. So, some said prepares a timetable, some said to take the help of a council of a wise man, and and some says no, it's not possible to make a timetable for the future, and they are arguing with each other, and the king notice all the thing whatever it's going on. But the other said that there were something which could be urgent. These things could not wait for the decision of the council. In order to decide the right time for doing something, it is necessary to look into the future, and only magician could do that. The king therefore would have to go to magician. And some said that king take the help from magicians to know about the future. In their answers to the second question, some said that the people most necessary to the king were his counselors. Others said the priest. A few others chose the doctor, and yet others said that his soldiers were the most necessary. So, for the second question, some answers like this comes to the king that the most necessary to the king were his counselor. Then others said, no, it's priest. Then some says chose the doctor, and some said it's soldier were the most necessary. To the third question, some said science, others chose fighting, and yet other religious worship. As the answer to his questions was so different, the king was not satisfied and gave no reward. Instead, he decided to seek the advice of a certain hermit who was widely known for his kingdom, his wisdom. So, whatever the answers king getting, it's totally different from the questions, and it's not match the question. Actually, the answer given by the others are totally go in the other way. But the king was not satisfied with their answer, so he decided to take the advice of a hermit. Hermit, a person who lives alone and lead simple life, who was known for his wisdom. The hermit lived in a wood which he never left. He saw no one but simple people, and so the king put on ordinary clothes before he reached the hermit's hut. The king left his horse with his bodyguard and went on alone. The king went to the hermit. Hermit lived in a wood. Wood means it is given a small forest. So he lived in a small forest. So he never met. He always met a simple people, and so the king also himself dress up in ordinary clothes. Before he reached to the hermit's hut, the king left his horse with his bodyguard and went on alone. As the king came near the hermit's hut, he saw the hermit digging the ground in the front of his hut. He greeted the king and continued digging. The hermit was old and weak, and as he worked, he breathed heavily. The king went up to the hermit and said, I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you to answer 3 questions. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? Who are the people I need most, and what affairs are the most important? The hermit listened to the king but did not speak. He went on digging. You are tired, said the king. Let me take the spade and work in your place. Thanks, said the hermit, giving the king his spade. Then he sat down on the ground. When the king had dug 2 beds, he stopped and repeated his question. The hermit gave no answer but stood up, stretching out his hand for the spade and said, "Now you rest and let me work." But the king did not give him the spade and continued to dig. 1 hour passed, then another. The sun went down behind the trees, and at last the king stuck the spade into the ground and said, "I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my question. If you can give me no answer, tell me so, and I will return home." "Here comes someone's running," said the hermit. So the king went to the hermit and asked him the same 3 questions. The hermit was digging soil and breathing heavily, listened to him but said nothing. The king repeated his questions many times, but there was no reply. The hermit went on digging. Then the king said, "Sir, you are very tired. Please give me your spade." The king took the spade and started digging the soil. "Thanks," said the hermit. The whole day along, the king went on digging the soil, and at the time passed, as hour passed, then another. The sun went down behind the tree, and at the end, at last, the king stuck the spade into the ground, and then he again asked the same question to the hermit and said that, "Can you give me the answer of my question, or I will return home?" And then after hermit says, "Here comes someone running." So the student, I stop here in this video, and further portion will be continue in next video. Thank you. Goodbye.